Hey everybody, today you join me out in beautiful Santa Maria, California with the entire 2023 Lexus RX family. This vehicle has been completely redesigned this year. It's now in its 5th generation. And as you can see, I have 2 of the models here. However, Lexus brought out the entire RX family. So in this video, we're actually gonna go over every model in more detail. We're gonna show you guys everything from the base RX 350, which is the hybrid right here, all the way to this RX 500 F Sport Performance. So let's get into it. So I want to make it clear that there is an embargo on driving impressions and some specs of the vehicle until September 9th at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to tell you about as much as I can because this is our first time seeing this car in person. Lexus revealed it back in May, but sadly we missed that program because we were sick. So now that we have all of the models here, let's go ahead and start with the exterior walk around because seeing these cars in person for the first time, completely different versus seeing it in pictures. Some cars photograph pretty well and then they look so like in person. However, I will say that the new RX has a design that really mimics what you guys expect from an RX. Remember, this is literally the best-selling luxury vehicle in America. It's been like that for over 2 decades, although it technically lost the crown to the Tesla Model 3, if you guys would consider that a luxury-oriented vehicle. Now, the 2 vehicles that I'm showing you here, we're gonna show you also a 350 and a 450H Plus. That's the plug-in hybrid that Lexus has been kind of tight-lipped about. These 2 models here are kind of the 2 electrified halo versions, with the halo actually being more this copper crest RX 500H F Sport Performance. I know that is a tongue-twisting word, but this is the new flagship of the RX family. You can see the styling of this model is quite controversial, especially when Lexus first revealed the vehicle. The first thing you're gonna notice at the front is the new spindle body grille. Now, obviously they've introduced that hourglass spindle grille for quite some time, but there's this new portion here where this kind of like, it's fully upright. The grille, along with this kind of painted area here that kind of creates almost like a nose, a big nose. The F Sport model, as you can see, this F Sport Performance has the intricate L's with the black painted areas. It's got the full LED headlights. Bi-LEDs are standard. This model here has the optional triple beam full LEDs. And then the F Sport Performance also adds kind of more black accents here on the lower portion. There's still a silver painted area here on the front splitter. You have LED fog lights along with some functional air intake vents. I can't technically tell you what I think of the styling, but let me know in the comments below if you guys like the design. The copper crest color is certainly a very sparkly color out here in the sunlight. That's a factual thing here. I'm not talking about my driving or my impressions on how the vehicle's styling is, but you will notice that this vehicle sits a lot lower and wider versus the previous generation. Now over here, this model here is the RX 350H. So this is technically a new model as well, along with the 500H. This model is the hybrid version that you also find in the NX 350H. It also shares a powertrain with the Toyota Highlander hybrid, the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. And what that basically means is 246 horsepower, which I'll get under the hood and I'll talk about that later. But we have 3 electric motors, standard all-wheel drive. The rear styling of the RX, you can see, has some of the newer elements of Lexus's design signature. You have that full light blade that's kind of going across the vehicle. It spells Lexus here at the back. This is the non-F Sport version, so as you can see, it's got less of an aggressive rear splitter. It's got that RX 350H badge, and then you can see here, no visible exhaust tips. It's overall, you can see, very distinctive, but also it looks like an RX, and that's kind of what Lexus was going with this new generation. I want you to follow me over here to the side profile because I want to talk about the wheels. Now, first of all, in terms of the overall length, before we get to the wheels, this vehicle is the exact same size at 192.5 inches long. The L has been dropped because Lexus said that sales weren't really great. It had a terrible third row anyways. There should be a model that replaces that, that's gonna have a new name that'll be their full 3-row luxury crossover that'll be coming to market very soon. We don't have a name for that yet, but its wheelbase has been stretched by about 2.4 inches. So at 112.2 inch long wheelbase, Lexus basically pushed the wheels out and gave us more interior space. However, I don't have interior figures just yet. And then you can take your pick between either a 19-inch wheel or go up to a 21-inch wheel. You can see this is the 21-inch wheel that you get on the NX 350H. This is the Premium Plus model, so it's 1 notch below the luxury. You can see it's wrapped in a 235 50 series tire. It's a Bridgestone all-season tire. The wheels, I actually think they look good with the two-tone look, especially with this Matador red color. I want to show you guys the RX 500H F Sport Performance though, because the wheels on this version definitely don't look like they belong on an RX. I mean, this looks more akin to an IS 500F Sport Performance, but these are a matte black 21-inch wheel. You can see this wheel design is exclusive to the F Sport Performance that you get on this model. And then you also are going to notice the brakes. These are uprated by 2.5 inches in diameter. It's over 15.4 inches in diameter. It's got a 6-piston caliper at the front. 6-piston caliper on an RX. Remember, this vehicle used to just be classified as a mommy crossover, but this is bringing some serious heat, some serious performance to kind of back up the look and the name. You can see the F Sport Performance also has a unique F Sport badge where it's got a black accented background. It's got more body colored trim along the lower part of the side splitter. It's got black painted side mirrors over here. That's how you know this is an F Sport Performance, along with black window trim, black roof rails. You can get a pano roof on basically all the trims. It's like an extra charge. All the standard sunroofs are just going to be that standard roof. And then you can see here that signature floating roof design here is still carried over. It's one of the things that Lexus has been doing on the RX for years, so they wanted to include that for the new generation. And then at the back here, I want to show you guys really quickly what the 500h looks like with the F Sport package. You can see, unlike the regular hybrid that's a non-F Sport, which you can't get as an F Sport, this has a much more aggressive rear diffuser. Although I will say a lot of these vents appear to be non-functional, but it does make for a more aggressive look. There's a RX 500h Direct 4 badge, which the Direct 4, which we'll talk about under the hood, means that it's got a much stronger rear electric motor. Now, I do want to show you guys the cargo area really quick. We'll just focus on this model here. Lexus doesn't have final figures just yet, but the old RX had one of the bigger cargo areas in the segment. I'm going to estimate maybe just over 40 cubic feet. You fold them down, it might expand it out to just under 80 cubic feet. It's a fairly good size cargo area. And then underneath here, there you can see there is a temporary spare tire, looks like, with a jack and whatnot. No underfloor storage because that's where the spare tire goes, but overall, obviously, the two-row model remains a very practical car. So Lexus is really known for their really fancy interiors, and this is my first time seeing the new RX on the inside. So I'm going to show you guys all the different touch points and the style of this interior. This one here is macadamia, so it's got the light color leather, and it's got really looking seats and bamboo trim. Now, getting inside, you can see it has that step-in height, and I have to say, if you guys have been in the new NX, this is going to feel pretty familiar because you have the same dashboard layout. You have a 14-inch display over here. This is the optional screen, and it's got a 7-inch display over here. As I get in and shut the door has a pretty sounding thunk, so...
Impressions.
Oops, that's an impression. Didn't say that. Can you like...
I mean, I can beep it. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have some beeps in here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
The door sounds like a door closing because I'm not supposed to talk about impressions, but looking at the rest of this cabin here, you can see this is the newer steering wheel that we first saw on the Lexus LX and the NX. There's this really interesting display over here. This is for the traffic jam assist, apparently. This is a new safety feature that's part of the Lexus Safety System 3.0. It allows you to basically go hands-free at speeds below 25 miles an hour, which is and then the rest of this interior, you can see you've got the bamboo wood over here. You've got some stitching along the dashboard. There's some piano black plastic trim along the entire, infotainment area, which some of you have said in the NX you don't particularly like that look. And then over here on the center console, you can see there is more of that bamboo wood. There's a digital shifter over here, or electronic shifter, and then you can see here wireless phone charging pad, a little bit more storage. There's 4 USB charging ports right here, which is definitely a and then you can see over here cup holders. You have a few buttons here for the electronic parking brake. Your drive mode selector, this is an interesting thing, is actually located in the screen. So I was expecting Lexus to give me a button for that, but to get to that, you have to go here to vehicle and then go to drive mode. You can change between 4 different drive modes, which is interesting, although I would have preferred probably a button. Over here on the center stack, you can see leather covered armrests, which is, there's 2 different ways you can open it. You can open it from that way, the driver's side, or the passenger side, and from the driver's side, so it is pretty that they give us both those options. And then this model here has the real leather seats on the Premium Plus. They adjust in 10 ways. They are also heated and ventilated with 3-person memory on this side. And then above me here, you can see just a standard sunroof. You can get a pano roof on most of the trims, so that's a really touch if you guys want that feature. Let me go ahead and hop into the back seats though and show you guys that really quickly. As you can see, I don't have legroom figures yet, but for somebody my height, 5'7", I can get pretty back here. And in terms of features, there is a fairly good amount. You can see heated and ventilated seats, which I wasn't expecting, 2 USB charging ports, rear seat air vents, storage pockets, not a flat floor over here, but there's also an armrest here that gives you 2 cup holders, and these seats also do offer a recline function. So obviously I don't have final legroom figures yet, but the RX has always been a really great family car, just as long as you don't need a third row, because you can't get that on this new generation. So kicking off the powertrain scene, this is where things are going to get a little bit long and a little bit complicated. So have a seat and grab some popcorn, because I'm going to start off the new powertrains for the RX with this model here. This is the RX 350. So there's no H, there's no additional badging. This means you have a new 2.4 liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder. This is replacing the old V6. Remember, the previous generation had a V6 as its only powertrains, even the hybridized model. This makes 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you're keeping score, this has about 20 less horsepower than the V6, but nearly 50 more pound-feet of torque when you're talking about the 2-row model. So that's a nice healthy increase in torque. It all goes out through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Front or all-wheel drive is going to be an option. Now, I don't have fuel economy as of this filming, but you can watch that. You can find out that later when you come back after the embargo lifts. Performance, Lexus says 0 to 60 should be around 7.2 seconds for the all-wheel drive version, 7.5 if you guys go for the front-wheel drive model. But let me go ahead and close the hood, show you guys really quickly this model here. This is a Gratian Water 350 all-wheel drive with the F-Sport handling package. So that basically means you have the F-Sport specific grille, you have the intricate L's over here, you have this kind of horseshoe-shaped trim, which is painted in silver. You'll see on the F-Sport Performance, it's actually painted in black. And then this model here also has the triple beam full LED headlights, which give it a little bit more of a distinctive, sportier look. And then around the side profile here, you can see the wheels on this model are unique to the F-Sport handling package, which means you have these 21-inch gloss black wheels. They're riding on 235/50 series tires. This is a Goodyear Eagle touring tire. You can see the brakes are also upgraded on the F-Sport handling model to give you a 15.5-inch rotor with a 6-piston caliper, which is really, really impressive. The F-Sport badge over here has a white background. You still have a black painted side mirror here, and then you can see chrome trim along the window trim, which I prefer a blacked out look, which you can still get on the handling or the performance model. Now you can see here the floating roof remains, and while I try not to trip over these rocks over here, looking at the rear of the vehicle, you can see the F-Sport handling also gives you a more aggressive, sporty rear bumper with some faux vents, and then you can see here RX 350 all-wheel drive badge. Not a single F-Sport badge here, but you do have that new signature light blade. Now, even though Lexus expects this to be the volume, I suspect most of you are probably going to go for the model that I'm going to show you after this vehicle. So while the turbocharged RX 350 should be sufficient for most people, I imagine some consumers are going to want to go electrified, which is why the RX 350h exists. This is a new model this year, and it essentially combines the same powertrain that we find from the NX 350h and the Toyota RAV4 hybrid. So we have a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated that runs on the Atkinson cycle. It makes 246 horsepower combined. Now, combined means that you've got 2 electric motors in the front and 1 motor at the back powering the rear axle. So there's no physical connection between the engine and the rear drive shaft like there is in the RX 350 gas-only model. Lexus did say that you probably can expect around 190 horsepower from the gas engine alone. So the electric powertrain adds a good amount of punch, up to 246 and 233. This also has an eCVT. That's very typical with a lot of Toyota Lexus powertrains. It's going to make the powertrain very efficient. I don't have fuel economy figures just yet as of this filming. Come back on September 9th, where I will be able to share that information for you. The beauty about the NX 350 or the RX 350h is all-wheel drive is standard. That's an extra charge when you guys go for the regular gas-only version. So that's one of the reasons why you want to go for this. Lexus also claims performance should be pretty similar, which is one of the reasons why you want to go for this, because acceleration will be similar and fuel economy will be much better. But I want to walk you over here to show you the flagship of the RX family now. This is the RX 500h F-Sport Performance. I have to say that slowly because I'll trip myself up if I don't say it slowly, but this essentially is a lot of firsts for Lexus as a brand, not just the RX family. This combines the 2.4 liter turbocharged engine that we got from the RX 350 with a separate e-axle at the back, which is a separate motor and generator. Lexus claims that this combination is going to be good for up to 367 horsepower. That's the most powerful that we've ever seen from an RX, and torque they're saying is 406 pound-feet. Now, the interesting part about this combination is instead of a CVT, it uses a 6-speed automatic transmission. That 6-speed auto Lexus says they chose in order to get the best performance, because that model there is all about efficiency. This model here is all about performance. Lexus already announced 0 to 60, 5.9 is their estimate versus 7.4 for the regular hybrid, and that's 7.2 for the NX 350. Which again will make it the quickest accelerating RX ever. We don't have fuel economy figures just yet, but I will share that for you when our separate video on this vehicle will post on September 9th, so be sure to come back then. I don't have curb weight figures just yet either, but I am very much intrigued to drive this, so you guys will have to watch that separate video when we post that on September 9th. So moving down the RX family lineup, I'm going to show you a model that we are getting here in America, but Lexus is very tight-lipped on when we're actually getting it in America. So this model here is actually a European spec RX 450h Plus, which means this has the same plug-in hybrid powertrain from the NX 450h Plus and of course the Toyota RAV4 Prime. Now Lexus doesn't have too much information on this, but we're going to go ahead and assume it's got a 2.5 liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder with 3 electric motors. It has the same 18.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Now Lexus didn't disclose horsepower or torque figures, but this powertrain in the NX makes 304 horsepower. It's paired with an eCVT. It's got standard all-wheel drive. We don't know how much range it's going to give us. The NX gives us about 37 miles of pure electric only range. So I'm going to assume because this is bigger and slightly heavier, this should be a little bit less. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and guess maybe around 35 miles. So this model here should be the one to get for those of you who want to get some electric only range. However, it no longer qualifies for the federal tax credit because of that new law that went into place until Lexus moves production of this vehicle from Japan into North America. But quick walk around to show you guys the exterior styling. This one here is a luxury trim. It looks like painted in eminent white pearl. You've got the spindle body grille at the front. You've got the optional triple beam LED headlights, which I'm not sure what the pricing is yet. This one here is not an F Sport, as you can see, so you have more of the luxury styling elements. It looks good in this eminent white pearl. I think that Lexus has done a really great job with making this thing look just like an RX, but also making it appear more fresh. Around the side profile, you can see 21-inch wheels riding on 235/50 Bridgestone, our Bridgestone all-season tires. It's a good wheel. I like the multiple design spokes. You can see body-colored mirrors. You also have a panoramic glass roof with the silver painted low profile roof rails, which is definitely nice. And then the charge port is going to be over here on the passenger side at the back. Now obviously this is a European spec car, so as you can see the port is a Euro plug. This is not the US spec J1772. I don't have any charging figures, but we know that the one in the NX has a 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger. That's the faster one. There's also a slower 3.3, which should take roughly 2.5 hours to charge. I'm going to assume this is the same thing. Now at the back you can see the plug-in hybrid. You won't even be able to tell it's a plug-in hybrid aside from the badge. It'll say RX 450h Plus. With all-wheel drive, it's standard. You have that same light blade with the Lexus that's spelled out at the back. It's a really distinctive looking vehicle. And then looking at the cargo area, you can see I was expecting the cargo area to stay the same. We don't have final figures just yet. Lexus does give us some underfloor storage. The 12-volt battery should also be back here as well. You can see there's the charge cable, in this case a European charge cable. The seats still fold down in a 60/40 manner as well. So with this new RX, Lexus pretty much left no stone unturned, and you have to admit, it is impressive that they are offering so many different powertrains on the vehicle. I'm really excited to get behind the wheel of all of them, but remember, this is just a first look. You be sure to come back on September 9th at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll show you guys some full driving impressions with the 500h F Sport Performance, the RX 350h, the regular 350, and of course the RX 450h Plus. I also don't have full pricing on this vehicle yet. That's something that Lexus will announce as we get closer to the on-sale date, but I can tell you that they will start shipping to dealers toward the end of the year because this will be a 2023 model year, and these vehicles will either be built in Canada or they'll be built in Japan. That's something, of course, to keep in mind if you guys haven't the plug-in hybrid version on your short list, which Lexus, again, wasn't able to share when that model will be coming to the US. But until then, I hope you guys have enjoyed my very detailed first look on all of the RX models from the 350 all the way up to this 500h F-Sport Performance. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.